Am I alive again? Oh, I'll tell you what. If it's done it again, it's done it again, hasn't it? Am I live? I am live. Oh, don't know. Hello and welcome to the United Stand. I'm Mark Goldbridge, and sometimes YouTube goes live without telling me. Lovely stuff. I hope we're all doing well. It's match day anyway. We've got lots to get into, actually. You know, even though the game starts very, very soon, we do have some big updates around Donnarumma. Sesco is actually official. There's something about Rasmus as well. Belieber. Luke Shaw apparently is not very happy that he's not in the leadership team. And obviously we've got a game to watch today as well, where we should be seeing Mbeumo, Cunha again. We're going to see Sesco on the pitch. So lots to get into on the show this morning. And we're live straight after this in the studio. Countdown to kickoff is back, and then I'm doing the watch along. So we're pretty much live on the United Stand now, all the way through to the conclusion of the match reaction at 3 o'clock. Wow, 5 hours of live content on the United Stand. Make sure you subscribe, get involved. I've got my lovely new t-shirt on as well. If you want to get one of these, you can get it from the United Stand Shopify shop. Absolutely loving it. I actually love the colours, but I do like the grey one. Special. What does it say? United, definitely red. Love it. Right, let's get into the show. So, look, first of all, Cesco is official. The club haven't announced it yet, but he is officially signed. Romano's put it out there. Plettiberg's put it out there. It is official. So he has signed everything. It's done. The wages, the contract, the agent fees, everything is done with Cesco. It's just now the whole let's announce it, probably at midday. Or maybe even 11 o'clock, or maybe now. It's basically done. They're just waiting for the, get him on the pitch sort of stuff. So yeah, that official thing. Look, I know it's not as exciting as here we go, but it is done. So there we go. Well done on that one. Also, we're going to start off with Donnarumma this morning. Basically, I saw this first of all in the Mirror, and numerous people are talking about it in France as well. The feeling in France at the moment is that Donnarumma will leave PSG, and it's Inter Milan, Chelsea and Manchester United that are looking at him. We've also got a big story about Belieber that we need to keep an eye on as well, so talk about that next. But Donnarumma, for about £25 million, is available this summer. I'm quite interested in the Chelsea angle because I think it suits Chelsea perfectly. I mean, you put Donnarumma in goal for Chelsea, they're basically set. And you put Donnarumma in goal for Manchester United, and we're finishing 5th. We've just removed a massive issue. No more volleyball, no more not coming. I mean, Donnarumma is so dominant on crosses. He's such a brilliant shot stopper. He's superb with his wrist action, getting it out of danger. You put Donnarumma in goal for Man United and replace Onana. I mean, it's like replacing Ian Beale in EastEnders with prime Al Pacino. It's like, what do you want? You want some apples? That was not what I wanted. He'd just be brilliant selling his fruit from the fruit stall. So this would be a huge upgrade for Manchester United, and certainly one that you'd have to be a complete and utter moron not to want to do. I have been right on a lot of things just on opinion this summer, and so have you. I said Sesco would happen. I believe Belieber will happen. I don't believe Donnarumma is going to happen at the moment. At the point I think it's going to happen, I'll tell you, it's not about stubbornness. I just don't think it's going to happen in relation to Donnarumma and Manchester United. And some people are saying wages. I think wages is a barrier, of course. There are ways around wages. I mean, literally, there's things you could do. You could give a base wage of 200 grand a week, and then you could put bonuses in there that he might feel he can hit. So you could do that. Orville's right, the wage structure is problematic. But look, the story this morning around Donnarumma, and I'll put my hands up and say, look, you can't deny it, is that PSG are looking to push him out of the door. We all know or suspect his plan would have been to run his contract down. Fair play to PSG. I actually like clubs that do this. I think football clubs need to retain and keep hold of their status as the power in football, the PSGs, the Manchester Uniteds, the Liverpools. And you can't have players who are just taking the piss out of fans and clubs by running their contract down. So I think PSG have been brilliant by being proactive and buying a replacement and then saying, well, run your contract down from the bench or piss off. And Donnarumma, therefore, has got to piss off. I can't see him going to Inter Milan because he played for AC Milan. But I can see him going to Chelsea. So I think it's going to be very interesting. I'd do a loan deal. I'd happily do a loan deal. I'm not too fussed about that. But we'll have to wait and see how that develops. But apparently Donnarumma's open to Manchester United. But the 5 strands of transfer, I say. Total bollocks. Totally true. Agent using Manchester United to get other clubs interested. PSG using Manchester United to get other clubs interested. Or agent using Manchester United to get a contract where they are. You could fit this Donnarumma story into 4 of those strands. The most likely one, I would say at the moment, is using Manchester United to generate interest from somebody who can pay his wages. Who can pay his wages? That's the question. I think to every issue or barrier, there has to be a solution. I think I operate that in my life, work, privately, whatever. And I'm sure you do as well. So we can't afford his wages. Who can? Chelsea can't. Chelsea have a wage structure. Real Madrid won't want him. PSG are moving him on. Man City won't do it. So the only people that can afford his wages is Saudi. So I think that this is what we do on this channel. Subscribe, get involved. But instead of just going, we have a conversation. And I agree his wages could be ridiculous. It could be 250 grand a week. It could be 300 grand a week. But if he's got to leave and you can't get those wages without going to Saudi, then you maybe come to Man United, you take 200 grand a week and you have bonuses in that. And United go, look, for every clean sheet, we'll give you, I don't know what you get for a clean sheet. It might be 10 grand, I don't know. It might be 30 grand, whatever. But who else can afford his wages anyway? And I think that's a good one. I've just seen Dave Blunt say Onana sponsored by olive oil. Which is sort of funny. Good question. Seriously, if he needs a home, we're here, says the Moose. Well, look, you know what? I agree with that. Look, if he wants to come to Man United, we'll definitely take him. He's one of the best goalkeepers in the world. It's just got to work for us, and I'd leave it there. And also, I just have this feeling about Martinez later in the summer as well. So let's wait and see. Surely for the world's best keeper, you have to pay wages to reflect that, says Obi. Yes and no. If you want to do it, you do it. But if you want to keep a wage structure, then you don't. I'd give him Old Trafford to get rid of Onana. Just imagine going from Onana to Donnarumma. Oh my God. My God. You know sometimes on an evening and you think you're having something really basic and then there's a knock at the door and it's a surprise takeaway. Oh yeah, that would be great. Let me just catch up on what you're saying. Donnarumma came on free to PSG, says Zet. Onana, only man on earth with poor wrist action, says Almost Malone. Onana to Donnarumma is going from the worst goalkeeper in the league to the best. We should throw everything at this. Sets us up for the next 10 years, says Joshua. How do you reckon United will go next season, says the anonymous gamer. I think it so much depends on what business we do over the next few weeks and how we start the season. I mean, I have to predict it. I'm doing my Premier League prediction show on That's Football for Monday morning. So I've got to put United somewhere. But at the moment, I think it's very difficult. We're sort of borderline between finishing 6th to 10th and 5th at the moment. I'm doing the Belieber story in a minute. Get ready for that. Also got an Ornstein update on Rasmus. Do you think the leadership group could also act to marginalise some of the players who don't have long-term futures, such as Shaw, so that they are willing to explore other options as Ready Aim? Look, very, very quickly on this one, because it is a super chat from Ready Aim. I read it this morning, and I don't know where it was from. I'm going to say The Sun. I might be guessing, but I'm going to say The Sun. So the source isn't the best, and it's a news show, so I will always say what I think about the source. If it's from The Sun, it's not the best. Apparently Luke Shaw was very disappointed that he wasn't named in the 6-man leadership group by Amorim, as he's been there for so long. I agree with the disappointment. Being disappointed in sport is not necessarily a bad thing, because you can use it to inspire. I personally think De Ligt should have been in there instead of Delo. I thought they'd misspelt it. So, look, there's a couple of players I think should have been in there. But Casemiro's not in there. And Casemiro's not in there because the club want him out. We can all do smiley faces and it's match day and all that, but they've wanted him out for 18 months. So that doesn't surprise me. With regards to Luke Shaw, I'm sure the club are very disappointed that we've paid him a lot of money to be injured. So I wouldn't put him in the leadership group. Doesn't mean we're going to sell him, but I wouldn't put him in the leadership group because the leadership group is meant to be a leadership group. It's meant to be people that players look up to and respect and want to emulate. And Luke Shaw might be brilliant in the dressing room. He's really well liked in the club. But psychologically, for players that are looking up to the leadership group and one of them's Luke Shaw, you're going to go, well, he's never fit. So I understand why he's been left out. I don't think it's that deep. If Luke Shaw is disappointed, I'd be disappointed if he wasn't disappointed. But I'm also, look, Amrim's making a lot of good choices, and I agree with this choice. I think that you don't have somebody in your leadership team that's never fit because it doesn't set the standards that you're trying to set. You want availability. And if you've got a player there that's injured a lot, psychologically, that might feed into other players going, well, it's okay to be injured. And that sounds very basic, but look, if I've got a leadership team in my business and one of the people on it is somebody that's always late, even though they're good at their job and everyone likes them, I'd be thinking they're not setting the standard. So maybe that's what it's all about. Donnarumma sat on the bench in a World Cup year, says Akash. Good potential signing for United with Sesco. Your prediction for the season for United, says Rub. Well, I've just answered that one. What number do we think Sesco gets, says Tomo. Well, Rasmus could be heading out of the door. This is coming in from David Ornstein. I'm never going to talk about Belieber at this rate, but you lot keep pushing me into stuff that's topical. So this came in from David Ornstein in the last sort of half an hour. We don't have an outcome yet on Rasmus. I think Man United would like a departure, whether that's a sale or a loan. It's unclear, undetermined. There's a very good chance that he moves before the window shuts, but I don't know of anything imminently developing right now. Now, again, I will work on this very, very, very quickly for you. If Rasmus goes, then Sesco could have his number. It's very obvious to me how we're using David Ornstein this summer, and I mentioned that last night. David Ornstein is basically an agent for Manchester United at this point because we're giving him stuff for our benefit. So we gave him the Mbeumo stuff, and that basically tells the world we want Mbeumo. And he tells the world that Mbeumo wants us. We gave him the Sesco exclusivity, and that tells the world that we only want Sesco. And it comes off. We've done it with Belieber as well. I think we're using Ornstein to, almost like it's like a super agent in a way. He's like, publicly putting stuff out there that's helping us out, and we're utilising it. It's a good relationship. So if David Ornstein is saying that Manchester United favour a departure for Rasmus, 100% this is being driven right by the football club. Now, 100% the player doesn't want to go. That's come in from very good sources. He doesn't want to go. He wants to stay. He's not bothered about the challenge of Sesco. He wants to stay at Manchester United. And he probably wants to stay because, well, most good teams have two strikers. He probably looks at the team and goes, I've had a nightmare for 2 years, and now there's actually going to be service. I actually want to stay here. I like Amorim. I like what's happening. I'm settled. I want another year here in this settled environment. So you can understand why he wants to stay. But the club are clearly pushing him out for financial reasons, probably. But the club are clearly pushing him out on this one. So it's an interesting one, isn't it? What I would say is, why is our second striker being forced out, but our starting goalkeeper isn't? It's a bit of a contradiction, really. But yeah, it looks like he's going to go because the club are clearly pushing him out. I think it's very obvious now. What number we think Sesco have done that? I'm going to the game today. I'm looking forward to seeing De Gea. I miss him. Love the videos, Mark. Have a good day. Look, I think I think it's going to be a really good pre-season game today because it's the last one before the start of the season. It's at Old Trafford and it's David De Gea in goal, and Fiorentina aren't very good, so he's going to be busy. So I think it's going to be a really good game because David De Gea is going to be busy. We're hopefully going to score a few goals as well. Morning, Mark. Thank you very much to Brit Ace. Shaw should have his own leadership team, says Zet, in the injury department. This has to be our most exciting time in years, says William. We're not there yet. there's still things that need to happen to make it that, I think, William. Calling it now. One day live will start without you knowing, and Mark will pick his nose. I've done it on stream before, Mazraoui. Michael, welcome to the Members Club. And with Rodri now out, City in for Belieber too, says Robbie Willis. Oh, well, thanks, Robbie. You've literally moved me on to the next bit. So Ibrahim says, Lucas says, breaking, I need a job. Well, I'd love him to get sacked. We're driving the morning show now. Get us in line, Mark. We'll be back for a cracking Saturday night show, says Ready Aim. You are driving the morning show. That's fine. Right. So what's the latest with Belieber? I did say we would talk about this a little bit closer to the start of the show, but you've been asking some good questions that fit in with what we wanted to talk about. So with Belieber, Manchester United are definitely interested. He is definitely interested, and it's going to come down to price. The interesting development is that Man City were interested yesterday morning. Last night, it got announced that Rodri is out till mid-September. I just wonder whether the Man City interest is something to do with that, because Pep Guardiola is a desperate man. Last season, I still cannot find a reason for why Man City were crap apart from Rodri's injury. I genuinely think when Man City have Rodri, they're a very good side, and when they don't, they're very not a good side. The statistics before that knee injury bore that out anyway. It was always something people used to say. Man City's win ratio with Rodri is brilliant, and when he's injured, it's crap. They lose him for a whole season and they're shit. They've now lost him again for another, 6 weeks? And when he comes back from that, is he now going to be an injury-prone player? So I do just wonder whether that Rodri injury might spark Man City into life for Belieber, because he's exactly the sort of player that Man City will go for. But you know what? On a positive, let them try. I think we'll beat them. I think if they want to get in the race for Belieber, get in the race for Belieber. I think we will beat them. And I know people say, oh, you've got absolutely no chance. But I said it yesterday and I'll say it again. I think it's Man United's deal this to do. I'm not saying we're going to get it done, but I think if we want to get it done, he will come to Manchester United. I think it's Manchester United at the moment, and I don't know why, we seem to have, it's almost like we're the next big thing. And you know, people get excited about the next big thing. I'm not saying we're going to win the league. I'm not saying we're going to topple Liverpool or Arsenal. But I think with Manchester United, there is this feeling in the industry at the moment that United have sort of hit rock bottom. And over the next 2 years, they're going to put themselves back in amongst the big boys, i.e. back into the top 5. And when you're back in there, you're playing in the Champions League and you can dare to dream. And I think that there is an optimism around that. Whereas with Manchester City, I think there is a bit of a laziness to it. I mean, Man City is still a fantastic side. They've got a great manager, but I just don't think the buzz is around Man City at the moment. I might be wrong, but I just don't feel that Man City capture the imagination of players as much as maybe they used to. Whereas I think Man United, there is this buzz around United at the moment. So I think Belieber would choose us. I might be an absolute moron for saying that, but I'm not that worried if Man City enter the race. We're in the race. We've publicly put ourselves in the race. I believe that Belieber will come to Manchester United because I don't understand why we've told David Ornstein that we're in talks with him if we're not going to push for it and we don't believe we can do it. So I think he will end up with us. But let's see. Moose One says, off top, I've done that one, sorry. Do you think if we sell Garnacho, we can afford Belieber? Pure profit, says Tony Marshall. I think we can afford Belieber anyway. I don't think we would have gone anywhere near having talks with him if we can't. So yeah, definitely do. I'm impressed with this transfer window, says the Moose One. I, or maybe few who agree, have not been this excited for a long time. I know how the owners are viewed, but this transfer window has been a confidence booster. I'm very optimistic about the season. The only thing I would say is that I sort of described you last night when I said some people just start being overly optimistic way too soon. We've got Cunha, Mbeumo and Sesco, but we've sold nobody. We've still got Onana in goal and our midfield is shit. We've also got 4 of the top 4 in our top 8 games. So whilst I like the optimism and excitement, and whilst I feel it myself, I'm very real. I don't sit here thinking we're fine. I mean, I genuinely think we could lose 3 of our first 5 games. And if we do, then all your optimism is going to disappear down the sewer. So I am more optimistic than I was after the, on July the 1st, I was very concerned. At the start of August, I feel a lot better, but I'm also real to the challenge. I mean, we were bloody awful last season, and we can't hide away from the fact that Amrin was the coach. That Europa League final, tactically, was just abysmal. Abysmal. So there is a stain on Amrin that he has to remove, and there is a stain on many of those players that they have to remove. And I'm hoping that the pre-season, which was always huge, I mean, I'm not going to deny the pre-season has to be the antidote. The ability to spend a month together working on things has to be. Then you bring in the Cunhas and the Mbermos and the Sescos, and that improves you as well. So I am expecting an improvement, I definitely am. And I do agree with you about, optimism, but it's just where you pitch yourself. Because if your optimism and excitement is, I think we can get 5th, then you're going to be happy and optimistic. But if your optimism and excitement is, we're back and we're going to compete for top 4, and then we're in 8th at Christmas, you're going to be negative. And I think that's the thing. I completely agree with the excitement and the optimism. I have it myself. But there's an element of realism that if we finished 8th, we can't sack the manager. Whereas I think some people, if we're at 8th at Christmas, will be sacking the manager. And I think that's the thing. That's the biggest issue in our fan base. It's where you set. I think you've got to do 2 things as a fan. You've got to set your upper expectation and your lower expectation. And if it hits the lower expectation, you can't be screaming Amrim out. And if we don't hit your upper expectation, you can't be screaming Amrim out. You've sort of got to go, this season for me, if we're between 4th and 8th, I can't moan. And if you do that, I think optimism and excitement is fine. And on secondary to that, as I said last night, you've got to realise the press, the media, the journalists, some of the ex-players thrive on us being shit. So they will tell that story early on. You've got to ignore that noise, and individually, every single one of you have got to go, I'm not going to be hammering out if we finish higher than this. And for me, as long as we're in the top 8, his job should be safe. Because I won't be happy with 8th, but it would be a step forward. And then next season becomes even important. Yeah, definitely. Sesco is official. Well, we knew that anyway, but Man United might be announcing it now, which is on Instagram, apparently. Let me have a quick look. Quickest way to Instagram is through my phone. Why are you, man? Oh, don't do Newcastle. That sounds like I'm taking a piss. Oh, he's doing it on his own Instagram. Thank you, Leipzig. I arrived as a kid and I leave with beautiful memories of this club forever. From day one, you welcomed me like a family. I've grown, learned and lived unforgettable moments here. To the fans, your love and support have meant more than words. This club will always hold a special place in my heart. Forever grateful. So that's from Ornstein. That's not from Ornstein, that's from Sesco. So, yeah, he is official, which is good. Well, we knew that anyway, but yeah. Will he play today? That's got to be comment of the day. Will he play today? No. Yeah, he won't be playing today. He's just going to get announced today, but he's got a great chance of playing against Arsenal. If we get Donnarumma, I wouldn't be surprised actually. I got told this yesterday, so get ready for this. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a behind closed doors game for Man United midweek against a Premier League side, maybe Everton or something like that. I got told that yesterday. There'll be probably some sort of behind closed door game on Wednesday, which Sesco could be involved in. I mean, they might not do that, but they have done it in previous years. With what we've got for Garnacho, can we get Donnarumma, says LA Devil, Red Devil? I think people are being too. I think you're complicating it. You're the second person to ask that, and I think you're complicating it. You're acting like you're bloody accountants. Like, I wouldn't even worry about if we need to sell. If we sell Garnacho, can we get Donnarumma? I wouldn't worry about any of that. Like, we have our targets, and we will have players going out the club as well. So I wouldn't even start letting your brain run away with, we need to sell Garnacho before we do this, that and the other. We need to sell Garnacho anyway, and it will happen. Chelsea are talking about waiting until the final day. We know what's going on with Anthony and Betis. These players will be moved on. We need a goalkeeper and we need a midfielder. And I think we will get them. How good is it not hearing about Rashford, says Annie. How good is it not hearing about Rashford? How good is it not hearing about Anthony? How good is it not hearing about Sancho? How good is it not hearing about Garnacho, really? They've been starved of oxygen. Basically, Amorim has locked them in a cupboard and thrown away the key. And you just vaguely, on a quiet day, you hear this, let us out, let us out. But, you know, it's... I really hope that this is a turning of the... There are things that are happening at United that you can't deny a change. New Carrington is amazing. We've basically locked away and thrown away the key, 5 players that would have been massively problematic for us over pre-season and damaged pre-season. We've never done that before. So these are steps in the right direction. I feel that United finally have given the manager the control when it comes to the squad. He hasn't got total control on the signings, and no, he shouldn't have total controls of the signings. There has to be an input from Wilcox and Favell, of course. But when it comes to the squad that he's inherited, he has been given total control because he's working with them. And in the past, as we know from Jose and Van Gaal and Ollie, and I'm sure at some point from Ten Hag, he'll do interviews about it, they were told, they were saying, let's remove these players, and they were being told no. And I think that is a huge step forward. I'd give him Old Trafford to get rid of Onana. That was from Pablo. Can I just get a shout out for Edward V? He's gifted 5 memberships. Thank you very much, Edward. I've got some memberships to give away on the watch along, actually. I'm doing that straight away at midday. Get Donnarumma and send Onana back to Inter Milan. That would be perfect for all parties, says Trigger. Thank you very much for that. And Roro says, Mark, just a thought. I think we need to go all in for Donnarumma. World-class keepers are difficult to come by, but there's always going to be a midfielder that we could go for. Good goalkeepers are just too scarce. Mate, you're talking to the converted. I mean, Donnarumma, to me, is probably the best goalkeeper in the world. If Man United were to get him, it would be like getting Pogba a few years ago, when you sort of like go, how are we getting Pogba when we're not in the Champions League? And look, that was an incredible signing at the time, whether we want to pretend it wasn't or not. It was stunning. So if we could get Donnarumma in, it would be stunning. I think Cunha's a good signing, Sesco's a good signing, and Burmo's a good signing. But I wouldn't say I was stunned by those signings. They're coming in from Leipzig and Wolves and Brentford. They're good signings. They're very good signings. But taking the Champions League goalkeeper winner from PSG when we're not even in Europe would be stunning. I don't think we can do it, but if we did do it, bloody hell, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and... we shouldn't be debating it. Like, if I did a poll on it, it should be 100%. We wouldn't get 100% because, fair play, we get quite a few people who aren't United fans watching this because they just like the community. But realistically, there's not a United fan with a brain that's not going to say yes to Donnarumma. Like, we can't say no because of wages. We're not bloody accountants. So... I mean, I'd say yes to... I think all our fan base would say yes to bloody Dean Henderson at the moment. Like, it's not like it's... we're not setting the bar ridiculously high to replace Onana anyway. So Donnarumma in goal would be an undoubted yes. I just don't believe it at the moment. I want to believe it. I just don't believe it at the moment. It just seems a bit far-fetched. I think Chelsea's more likely. But then again, Chelsea can't afford his wages either, and they've got other things to do. Manu plus Belieber swap plus cash plus and sign Calvert-Lewin is Enchanted Angel. That's like me and my bloody stuff I was on about in the after show last night. You sort of like going from one thing to something strange. Letitia, welcome to Members Club. Thank you very much for that. Azza says, can you shout out my boy James heading to the match this morning after doing the tour yesterday, hoping for an Ahmad hat-trick? I'm really excited about the game today. I'm expecting goals because Fiorentina aren't very good, and David De Gea's in goal. So it should be David De Gea hopefully making a few saves, Man United scoring 4 or 5 goals, and a lot of excitement about new signings. And look, if it is to be Rasmus's last game, I hope Amorim starts him. I hope he gets a couple of goals, because that would be good for wherever he wants to go as well. So I'm hoping we see some goals today. I'm hoping to see, actually, I don't think the midfield, breaking news, I don't think the midfield is something we're going to be moaning about, because Fiorentina aren't very good. So I'm hoping to see some good creativity, a lot of chances created. In fact, I'm going to hopefully get a little stats screen up so that we can individually look at players as well as the general stats for this game, because I want to really start scrutinise some of that as well. How realistic is signing Donnarumma? Fresh off a Champions League win with PSG, they look set to dominate for years, and Belieber would make a dream summer transfer window. Thank you, Matt, fitness coach. It's realistic that Donnarumma is going to leave PSG. The fact that he's won the Champions League and they're going to dominate for years isn't really the issue, because they've signed a replacement and he won't sign a new contract. So to me, that's incredible, but welcome to the modern world of football. You're the #1 goalkeeper for PSG. You've just won the Champions League and are the best team in the world, and you're running your contract down. That worries me. Nothing to do with Man United. That worries me about the personality of the player. Why are you running your contract down in that situation? And he is a very good goalkeeper, but I heard somebody say, get Donnarumma in and we're sorted for the next 10 years. I don't think we are sorted for the next 10 years. He ran his contract down at Milan. He's running his contract down at PSG. He'll run his contract down at United. But the flip side is, as long as it's a 5-year contract, let him run it down. I don't care. You know, I would take Donnarumma for 3 or 4 years. Absolutely no problem. Beggars can't be choosers. I think if you're a PSG, you're probably pissed off. But from a Man United point of view, I don't even care if we have a mercenary in goal. As long as he wants to, as long as he comes here for 3 or 4 years, I'm absolutely fine with that. Seth says, Amorim got handed a shitty team mid-season and people are judging this team. Needed a reset button, not a short-term medication. From what I'm seeing, he's on the trajectory. It will be reality soon, don't worry. I mean, Seth, look, that's more for next week when we're previewing the season, but don't forget, Arsenal are a fantastic side. First game. Second game, Fulham have basically retained everything from last season, not really added anything, but there'll be a real test at Craven Cottage. Third game, Burnley are going to get smacked up. Fourth game, we go to City, very difficult game, and then fifth game we get Chelsea at Old Trafford. So you know, you can't look at those first 5 games and say we're not going to get challenged. Like, some people have got relatively unchallenging opening starts to the season. I think Man City and Chelsea have got pretty good starts. Liverpool and Arsenal have got tough starts. I think Liverpool have got Bournemouth, then they've got Newcastle away, then they've got Arsenal. But we have got Arsenal at home, Fulham away, Burnley at home, Man City away, Chelsea at home. You can talk about pre-seasons, you can talk about optimism, you can talk about Amorim ball, you can talk about we're back, you can talk about the good times are coming, and all those things can happen, but for them to happen, the great thing about a transfer window is it's fantasy. We're cooking. You're not kicking a football competitively. This is why the transfer window is so good, because your brain wanders into hypotheticals and fantasy. As soon as the whistle blows, the reality hits you, and it can hit you like a baseball bat in the nuts. And what I'm saying is, those first 5 games, if we go unbeaten, we're cooking. Those first 5 games and we lose 3, you know what happens. So I can't predict it, by the way. I mean, I can, but I can't, but there's no point. I logically don't know what's going to happen against Chelsea, Man City and Arsenal, and even Fulham away. I don't know. These are the sort of games where if you go 1 behind, you expect to lose. If you go 1 in front, we might win. So I think it's very exciting, but we're certainly going to get tested. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing that we've got a tough start to the season. My wife loves the United stand, says Wayne Finnegan. Shout out to your wife. Zulu, thank you very much for your super chat. James, thanks for joining the members club. Andrew says it's a great position to be in. Donnarumma, Lemens, parties, and what about the giant Savic? He's already moved, mate. He's already moved. I can't remember where he went from. Did he go to Was he at Torino and he went to Lazio, I think? I don't know. Sky saying it was 73.7 million. Fake fees have begun, says Lee. Yeah. Bad sources on X linking Shaw to Everton this morning, says Barrel Shark. I think United would move Luke Shaw on. I do. And if you were going to move him on, now's the time when he's been fit for 2 months. But I don't think we will be able to move him on because no one's going to buy him and no one's going to pay his wage. Anana cost us at least 9 points last year. My opinion is that Donnarumma wins us the league. If nothing changes, do you put us in the top 4, Mark? Shout out to United fans in the kingdom of eSwatini. Thank you very much to Sasha. If nothing changes, do you put us in the top 4? I don't put us in the top 4 anyway, mate. I think that's it's way too ambitious. I think if we did get top 4, we're having a disco. But I don't put us in the top 4 because I think Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool and Arsenal have far better structure than us and far better base, and they've had very good transfer windows. So I think to put us in the top 4 it would be ridiculous. But 5th place is what I keep banging the drum on, because you can get into Champions League with that. We can buy any player we want. If Anana is still here by the end of the month, nothing will change. The players in Amrim don't trust him, says Justin Brown. And also, just on that, look, obviously, I want to be in the Champions League. That's the financial win. That's the place we want to be. But bare minimum, we've got to be in the Europa League. Forget the Conference League. That is just, I don't want to be in it. I don't want to be in the Conference League. Like, winning the Conference League puts you in the Europa League. Boo fucking who. I don't want to be in the Conference League. I want to be in the Champions League, but bare minimum we've got to be in the Europa League, because at least if you're in the Europa League, you can get into the Champions League that way. So we've got to be in, I think 5th place is what we've got to go for, 6th minimum. I'm not demanding it, but that's what we've got to aspire to. If Donnarumma goes Chelsea, do you think the media in Chelsea will try to spoon feed us Robert Sanchez? They can try. We didn't take the bait on Nicholas Jackson, to be fair, did we? So yeah, they can try on that one, but we won't bite on that, of course. 28,000 people tuning in this morning. You are absolute legends. I feel like swearing. Absolutely brilliant. Don't forget, we've got Countdown to Kickoff straight after this in the studio, and I will be live with you at midday for the watch along. Class of 99 says 8th were Manchester United standards in the mud. 6 people have liked that. I know you might have just woke up out of your coma from 99, class of 99, but we finished 15th last year and we finished 8th the year before. So you are saying that now if we finish 8th place this season, standards are in the mud. Well, hypothetically they are, but in reality they're not. Like, we finished 15th and 8th, and you think finishing 8th would be a disaster. I think you're disrespecting all those clubs that were better than us last season. We've got a bloody mountain to climb, and we don't know how it's going to go yet. I'm at the moment trajecting that we can't finish any lower than 8th, and if we do, then Amrim's in trouble. But if we did finish 8th, I'd be disappointed, but you can't be sacking the manager. That's what I'm saying. Thank you very much for that. Okay. I'm just having a quick check what else we've got, because I know I had a load of stuff that I wanted to talk about, and you've driven the show this morning, to be fair, so I might have missed something. Done the Luke Shaw thing. Done the David Ornstein thing. Oh, this was it. This was it. Good one, this. Fabrizio Romano, an hour ago, official and confirmed, Javi Guerra signs new deal at Valencia until June 2029. And I think it's a lovely way to say that just be wary of the 5 strands of transfer, because we had people saying Guerra to Manchester United was very, very close. And we had a lot of people talking about that. But obviously, in the 5 strands of transfer, we were being used to get a new contract there. So that is an update to a story that has been mentioned a few times over the summer. But Guerra clearly using Manchester United was part of that. Sesco is official, apparently. You've obviously tuned in 45 minutes late because we know that Sesco is official. It says it in the title, and we spoke about it in the first 5 minutes. Apparently, there are some Sesco quotes. We'll probably cover those in the countdown to kickoff. I agree with bookies who say 5th, says Robert McCormack. How can I flag the United stand for being brilliant, says United veteran? Just tune in. I was in the shower thinking about Garnacho, says Chicken. This ain't going well. Imagine going to Asia, seeing all the fans that support you, but still wearing an Aston Villa shirt. Damn. He's very focused on himself. Check out my super chat, says Rajaf. Sesco, how would we treat our attacking based on supply? Xerxes play more as a false 9, likes to dribble from outside the box. I think all we need now is just defensive and goalkeeper and we're set. But I'm optimistic, says the Moose one. Which of the new signings will have the best season and which are you most happy about, says Dave the Brave. I still think Cunha's the most exciting one. Yeah. I still think Cunha's the most exciting one. But they're all exciting so far. That's the whole point. Our hope for the City and Chelsea games is their first European games. Could take their eye off the ball, says Glenn C. Performance will be key, not necessarily results, says Rob. No, results are always the most important thing, Rob. Results are always the most important thing. Thank you for the wonderful community. This is the United Kitchen for supporting our small Nigerian YouTube channel. This is the best community ever. The kitchen loves you and will continue to be grateful for your support. Thank you very much, mate, and good luck with your channel. Right, that means they've started. Countdown to kick off. They're going to start off with the quotes from Benjamin Sesco. So get yourself straight over there. I'm back at midday, but we're in Manchester now in the studio for the countdown to kick off, and they're going to go through the Sesco quotes, the team news as it comes in as well. I'll speak to you in about an hour. Get yourself over there. Make sure you subscribe on your way out. And don't forget, if you want to get one of our new t-shirt designs, it's United Stand Shopify, or they'll be pinned on the chat somewhere. Take care, everyone. I'll speak to you all in a bit.